This is The Sports Life.
Throws over the middle. They want to catch it lateral, but that won't go anywhere. The ball is loose. The Spartans have stopped the Iowa Hawkeyes. This full tilt fight for the Big Ten championship is over in Indianapolis. And the Spartans are champions of the Big Ten for the 9th time and for the 3rd time in 6 years under Mark D'Antonio.
And welcome into the Sports Life. We'll team in here along with Dalton Shadler. George Blaha on the call. It's amazing. 3 titles for Michigan State in 6 seasons. Not too bad, huh?
Not bad at all.
Well, welcome into our show for this week, and we're going to do something interesting, and I think it's kind of a cool thing because the Big Ten has great tradition. And we're going to spend a lot of today's show saluting some of those traditions. And one of them that I absolutely love, even though I hate to be there when it happens, is the jump around in Wisconsin. It's so cool, unless you're in the stadium and you know this whole thing is collapsing.
You're getting a little bit of motion sickness, Will?
First time it happened, I went, get me out of here. Yeah. I'm never going to Camp Randall again. Never.
Love-hate relationship for Will for jump around. A couple other traditions that we're going to highlight here in today's show. The Iowa Wave, that's become one of the best traditions, not just in the Big Ten, but all of college football, and has such a sentimental meaning. We'll bring you the origin story of how it all came to be there for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And one that's more fresh and new in the last handful of years, Michigan has the Mr. Brightside song playing as a tradition when they get into the 4th quarter. So we'll bring you the story of how that came to be as well.
Well, it looks like we have some fun stuff from 2015 here.
Yeah, we do, because you heard there in the very beginning, the Big Ten final call of the championship game as Michigan State beat Iowa. We're celebrating a 10-year anniversary of that 2015 Michigan State football team that went on to the college football playoffs. So some of the magical moments along the way, well, let's highlight them. Actually, in that game to set up the win for Michigan State was an L.J. Scott touchdown where he muscled his way through everybody in black and gold, got to the end zone, and here's what it sounded like.
Benny McGowan now at center. Jack Allen in the backfield to help with the blocking. Handoff to L.J. trying to shed Hawkeyes and trying to turn to the goal line. Puts the football over the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, MSU. What an amazing, amazing run by L.J. Scott. It's a game of inches, and he got all he had to get.
That's a power play there, George. Michigan State's bread and butter. L.J. Scott fighting against 1, 2, 3, 4 Hawkeyes all by himself. Twisting. Having that presence of mind to stick the ball over the goal line for 6.
Wow, he got it. It was amazing. What a great call by George Blaha. It's a game of inches, and they got all they needed to get right at the goal line. And that wasn't one of the amazing things about that game in particular was everybody in the stadium knew the starting quarterback, Connor Cook at Michigan State, could not throw the ball very well because of a shoulder injury. Mm-hmm. And that last drive took forever, over 9 minutes, and they had to run it because they couldn't throw it. They threw it a couple times just so people knew they could try it. But that was an amazing deal. And that was the first loss that year for Iowa because they had an undefeated season going.
It really is a special one, and that was the cap, as we mentioned, to what was a great season for that 2015 MSU football team. But to get to that spot in Indianapolis, it took what was yet another miracle finish in Columbus, Ohio, off the foot of Michael Geiger. He would split the uprights against a top-ranked Ohio State football team. And this is one that was done for MSU with its backup quarterback playing and taking the snaps for the Spartans. But here's what the field goal kick by Michael Geiger sounded like to send him windmilling down the horseshoe side.
Yep. 3 seconds to go. That's it. 3 seconds to go in regulation.
When you grow up as a young kid, especially a kicker, any football player, this is the position you want to be in right now. Michael Geiger being a kid from Toledo, Ohio, I'm sure he's dreamed of this moment.
5'8", 186-pound junior, Michael Geiger. The snap, the put down, the kick is on the way, and the kick is
He hits it!
good.
He hits it!
It's good! It's good! The Spartans win! The Spartans win in Columbus! Down go the Buckeyes! And Michigan State has all its dreams still right in front of them.
Just
Michael
like they drew
Geiger,
it up,
the
George.
hero,
Just like they drew it up.
with a 41-yard field goal, and the Spartans win without Connor Cook. What a gutty, gritty effort in Columbus.
It's interesting you mentioned they used the backup, meaning Michigan State. They actually used 2 backup quarterbacks in that game.
It is true.
And so all of us knew that Connor Cook could not barely lift his arm. But Coach D'Antonio didn't want anybody to know. So he acted like maybe Cook was going to start. So here come the warm-up stuff. Here's Cook, trying to go through the warm-ups. He can't throw it 5 yards. You think Ohio State didn't see that right away. But that was a number 1 ranked Buckeye team. They were on their way to a possible national championship. And they lost in Columbus to a team without a quarterback.
Well, and that's the game that really blew things up for the Buckeyes, because afterwards that's when Ezekiel Elliott went to the media and was upset about all the lack of touches, as he put, that he had in that game. But that's how good that Ohio State team was. And you mentioned those backup quarterbacks, Tyler O'Connor, Damian Terry. Somehow they put together an effort to get the win in Columbus, Ohio. Just simply amazing. And if you thought that was the end of the magic carpet ride that was that 2015 season 10 years ago, this is the most magical one of all, maybe just about in all of college football history. In Ann Arbor, Michigan State would beat the rival Michigan Wolverines. Look, everybody knows what is coming. It's the 10-second play. We're going to highlight this and celebrate this, but just as a preview and a tease for our listeners, later on in this season and on this program, The Sports Life, we're going to have a full anniversary around what this event was. But for now, let's go back and enjoy the 10-second play, the trouble with the snap, Michigan State and Michigan in 2015.
Let me tell you, folks, nobody is deep. Spartans coming after him. Bad snap. Bobble. Scooped up. Here come the Spartans. Down the sideline. Racing into the end zone.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Racing into the end zone is Jalen Watts Jackson. Touchdown, MSU.
Touchdown!
Folks, no flags. The
No
Spartans
flags! Oh my God!
piling on each other in the end zone. It's over. The Spartans win again.
Oh
The Spartans win again.
George, what a call. My God. My God. How did that happen? Michigan goes back for a punt with 10 seconds to go on the clock. No one is back. As you said, there was a split in, out, wide. There's no one back there. All they have to do, they came after him. Michigan State, he bobbles the snap. Michigan State comes up with it. It ends up in the air and just to the house.
Connor Cook is running into the crowd.
Oh, it was over all right. That guy going crazy with Jason Strayhorn, I think he lost his mind on that thing like all of us did. But when you think about it, what are the odds of that happening?
I think, honestly, winning the Powerball recently might be a better odd than that.
Yeah, and I've told this story before, but I was there working the game, and I didn't see it because I'm in the locker room at the time getting ready for post-game stuff, and I'm talking to our producer, Wendy Hart, like, what's going on? And she goes, well, there's 10 seconds left, and they're punting. And I went, they're punting? And that's about the last English I heard from her. Next thing I heard, stadium's erupting, and she's screaming and yelling, and as it was everybody. And I didn't actually I've told this story before, I actually didn't get to see the play till I got home.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and I waited as long as I could to see the end of it before I had to go into the bowels of the stadium. But when you think about it, how many of those moments in the Coach of the era did Michigan State have?
Well, and that's what... Honestly, I think if you do word association and somebody brings up the name Mark D'Antonio, you immediately just think of all the classic finishes. The guy just had the it factor when it came to moments like this, whether it's Little Giants, the Rocket play, whether it's all three that we just gave you from the 2015 season as we celebrate those 10 years. He just had it. He had a knack for it. And the other thing too, Will, that we should highlight about this game, because so much happened with this, right? You had the Michigan fan with the Cobra pose that became really infamous attached with this game. But Jalen Watts-Jackson, who scores that touchdown, some listeners probably remember, he ended up getting hurt. And he's laying in the end zone as he scores one of the most iconic touchdowns in college football history. And as players are dogpiling him, he's saying, "Get off of me, get off of me." And he ended up missing the rest of the season with an injury there in those moments. It just goes to show what chaos that was to finish that out.
Yeah, it was something. And after Coach D retired, I asked Mark, I don't know who you're talking to, but it's somebody the rest of us aren't to do all these crazy things. Like before the game, he had the team stay on the bus 10 extra seconds. Who does these things?
It doesn't even make sense.
No, until the game's over.
What a divine connection.
But anyway, it was an amazing moment in college sports, and that's one of the great things about the college game. You have this. You have Auburn's return against Alabama when the field. Yeah. You have these things, and that's the romance of it. And, there's moments where they go, "Where were you, Dalton, when this happened?" I know where I was. I didn't see it. And it was right out, right through some girder and concrete.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I was close to it. Never saw it. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about this tradition a little bit at the University of Michigan. Mr. Brightside is all coming up in just a moment.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you have diabetes, listen up. If you have insurance, you can qualify for a continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends and spend more time in range, significantly lowering your A1C. More importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and if you've seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for your own CGM right now. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances will cover your CGM, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the Aptiva Medical CGM Health Hotline right now.
800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. That's 800-948-6912.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission.
Hello, how are you doing today?
She wants more people to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors.
Are you an organ donor? Yes, I am. Yay.
My goal is to sign up the most people in the United States.
What drives her? Roxanne's own life was saved through the gift of a heart transplant, made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day that I was going to devote myself to the cause of organ donation and signing people up and honoring my donor by doing that.
Now she's back to health, and she's a powerful force helping to save lives every day through her work. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life.
8 people can be helped with the major organs, and up to 50 people can be helped with a little bit of everything. And when you think about it that way, that you could help that many people, it's amazing. It really is.
Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, like we said at the beginning of the show, we're going to salute some of the great traditions that happen on football Saturdays around the Big Ten. And one of them is called Mr. Brightside, and with more, here's Dalton Shetler.
If you have spent a game day in the Big House in the last handful of years, you've certainly heard this song over the speakers. Mr. Brightside by the Killers, released back in 2003, has become a staple of a fall Saturday in Ann Arbor. But how did it become a core part of Michigan's game day experience? Well, we go to the man who hit the play button back in 2016 and kicked off the newfound tradition at Michigan, Josh Bennington.
We've been trying to do a few different things at the Big House before we actually did Mr. Brightside. We've been trying to create a moment there that is a little bit like Wisconsin's Jump Around, but it was really something that we could bring all the fans together, whether it was a rah-rah moment or a sing-along, something that was going to be, fun for everybody of all ages, that somebody can all get behind. Mr. Brightside was played at that Wisconsin game, but it didn't start there. There was a basketball game that we had the night before, I want to remember, the night before or 2 nights before, that we were looking for a sing-along, and the students instantly gravitated towards Mr. Brightside. It's just been a song in this state that's always been popular, kind of like Sugar We're Going Down. It's just one of those older songs that when you hear it, you just want to just scream, and just no matter who's around you, you know the words, and it's just a lot of fun. It's very nostalgic. So I've been working a lot of weddings. We had a wedding the night before this basketball game, and that song went over so well that I just knew that was a song that we needed to play to give it a shot. It was something that wasn't anywhere else and would be exclusively Michigan. And lo and behold, students instantly gravitated towards it. The very next football game, we debuted it. It was that Wisconsin game. It was a big game. It was like a top 10 game. Obviously, the fans were already juiced up for that competition. And once we played Mr. Brightside, because we weren't quite sure how it was going to go in a larger stadium like that, as soon as it came over the speakers, the students started jumping. You could hear the swell of singing, and we didn't end up fading it out the first time. We let the song play out because we didn't know that they were going to continue singing. But after that first debut, we would dip the audio and just listen to them a cappella sing it until, the crowd kind of ran out of energy or the game started back up again. But it was just one of those moments you just never forget. It's just a magical moment.
And it would lead to a win for number 10 Michigan at the time over number 9 Wisconsin, 14-7, back on October 1st, 2016. Shortly after the inaugural playing, the Wolverines fan base would catch on to the tune.
It took a season because we didn't play it again, not like in that meaningful moment at third quarter the rest of the season. When we came back for the second season, that was a staple. It was talked about. We wanted to do something that was scripted in, and so one of those songs was Mr. Brightside, and it got written in, and it never, ever got written out. From the very first moment we played it in that opening game, the students started it, but it did not take long for the rest of the crowd, I'd say honestly, a game or two into the season, until that became something that everybody was expecting and everybody participated in, even fans from the away team.
As you can imagine, it means a lot to Josh whenever he hears Mr. Brightside nowadays.
I honestly take a lot of pride in it. I take a lot of pride in my job, and I'm there for the people. I'm there to create an atmosphere. I'm there for fun. I take a lot of pride in that. I honestly will never forget it, and I appreciate the Michigan fan base for giving me that moment, or at least allowing me to be a part of it, because it's been really, really cool.
But what is Josh up to nowadays? We mentioned he hit play on this newfound Michigan tradition back in 2016, but what we didn't mention is that while Josh was working Michigan athletic events, he was doing the same thing down the road at Michigan State. In 2017, he had to make a choice, and he decided to continue working games as a DJ for Michigan State events, which, given his family tree, was a layup for Josh Bennington.
Yeah, so my grandfather was a head basketball coach at Michigan State, around when Gus Kanakis was on campus as well. So my ties to the Spartans and to Michigan State and to everything it means to be Spartan Green, and that is just embedded in me. It is like second nature. I actually had to DJ the game at the Big House in 2015, which we all remember, with the muff punt and, the run back for the touchdown. I was in a room that night in the PA box with lifelong Michigan fans. And to see the expression and just the sadness on all of their faces brought me probably the best moment of the Spartan fan ever. So it's been fun there, but it's been definitely complicated.
So, fast forward to today, and Josh exclusively wears the green and white. And he was in the booth at Spartan Stadium, working this year's edition of Michigan State in Michigan football. And of course, we know that Michigan State beat Michigan 37-33. That happened on the field. But what some of you may not know happened over the speakers shortly after that final whistle.
And I don't know if anybody caught this, but at the end of the Michigan State game, through all the post-game festivities and all that stuff on the field, we played a number of songs after the game, but one song that we did play was Mr. Brightside. And it was just kind of one of those special moments where I got to kind of get a little bit back at Michigan, but also, it was a rivalry.
Everything came full circle for Josh Bennington in that moment. A tradition he started at Michigan, resurfacing in some rivalry fun at Spartan Stadium. But this certainly isn't the final track for Josh. Mr. Brightside was a hit and a lot of organic fun in Ann Arbor, but Josh has more in the catalog, and maybe something that can catch on at MSU.
So I'm glad you asked the question. Hopefully Spartan Nation is listening as well. We do have a slight tradition, and it's growing. There is a song called Stacy's Mom. And if you've been to the Breslin Center in the last couple of years, or even if you've been to some of the football games this year, you probably have heard it. That song is another one of those songs that's a little bit like Mr. Brightside, that it's starting to kind of pick up some momentum. And the students absolutely love it at Breslin Center. We played it for the last exhibition, and they were jumping around. So that is a possible next song. I don't know if it'll ever live up to Mr. Brightside, just mostly because it's 100,000 people. Like, it's hard to top that sound level and just all of that. But when it comes to creating unique, fun experiences, yeah, Michigan State's got a lot of them. Stacy's Mom is probably the most recent.
Well, there you go. That can show you what a DJ can do for a football game. When we come back, one of the real great traditions, not only in the Big Ten, but maybe in sports, the Iowa Wave. It's all coming up in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
This is a potter's field. When people can't pay for their funerals, they are buried here. It is a lonely, desolate place, littered with unmarked headstones. No one visits. No one leaves flowers. But it doesn't have to be that way. For as low as $1 a day, you can ensure your family will have the money to pay your funeral expenses. We offer burial insurance plans that pay up to $30,000. Considering the average funeral costs more than $10,000, that's peace of mind for your family. There are no medical exams, your rates won't increase, and your policy cannot be canceled as long as you make your premium payments. Call now to get approved in minutes and ensure your final resting place is more than just a pauper's grave in a potter's field.
800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. That's 800-562-2407. Paid for by Final Expense Direct.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, Em, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584. That's 800-810-1584.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, like we said before the break, this next tradition is fairly new, but boy, is it something special. The Iowa Wave. With more, here's Dalton.
When we think of college football, we think of classics.
9 seconds to play, and Drew Tate doesn't know that. The game's going to end on this play. He fires downfield. It's caught, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa! Touchdown, Iowa! No time on the clock. I don't believe what I just saw.
Rivalries.
Stanley throws. It is caught. Touchdown! Touchdown, Iowa! Game over. Iowa wins in overtime.
And tradition. But one tradition stretches far beyond the lines. Matter of fact, across the street to a children's hospital, the Iowa Wave, where 70,000 plus fans turn to Stead Family Children's Hospital and wave their hands. So significant, so simple, it's one of the best traditions the sport offers. But where did it come from? That question sent us on a journey that starts with Krista Young from Anita, Iowa, home to less than 1,000 people.
I'm a lifer. I grew up in the same little tiny town I live in now. Probably die here.
Krista, a mom and now a realtor in Anita, shares how the idea struck her.
When my boys were little, I did daycare. And so it was nap time, and I was trying to get everyone down, and I was on my phone just scrolling through Facebook, and the hospital had shown some photos, and I could see these bald little heads looking down on the field, but I didn't realize until then how well visible it would be from that 12th floor spot and for the rest of the hospital. And it was just me sitting right there in the nap room, and it just popped into my mind. I thought, wouldn't it be neat?
The idea was born, but Krista still had to find a way to get more than 70,000 people on board. And that's where Facebook played an integral part once again.
I've reread it millions of times. It's been shared a lot. It was literally 2 sentences. I just said, now that the hospital's complete, wouldn't it be neat to have a Wave to the Minute kids and send up a little inspiration? And I think it was just as basic as that. And I had typed it into a fan page called Hawkeye Heaven. And I didn't think they'd even read it, but he responded almost immediately and said he really liked it, and he would try and get everyone online on board too.
Levi Thompson was the man on the other end of the message, the founder of Hawkeye Heaven.
It's been about 9 years ago now. I was in the service from the time I got out of high school, and I was in for 8 years. And while I was in the service, I seen a lot of Hawkeye fans. I was all over the world, basically, and I just, everywhere I went, there was Hawkeye fans, and I thought, at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff on social media. There was a few things here and there. It just wasn't really easy to follow Hawkeyes. So I said, when I get out of the service, I'm going to start a page and just basically dedicate it to the troops that are Hawkeye fans. And that's basically how the page started. I just did that. And I expected it to, I figured I'd get a couple hundred fans on there, eventually. Well, it ended up turning into, now I have this page with 135,000 followers.
Levi remains quite busy with Hawkeye Heaven, but he still remembers clear as day when Krista sent that one special message.
I do remember getting the message. I get hundreds of messages a week from just random fans about, whatever. But at the time, like I said, I I had no idea who Krista Young was or anything like that. It was this message that was sent to me, and I'm like, that's a heck of an idea. After seeing her idea, I reached out to families that were in the Children's Hospital and just asked if they would send me their photos of them or their children overlooking Tank Stadium. And the response from that was phenomenal. I had, like I said, I got hundreds of photos from families, and what I did was I used those photos and I just put them on. I put them on the Hawkeye Heaven, and just said after the first quarter, how cool it would be if we could all stand up and wave at the Children's Hospital. I mean, I would say the first post I made was probably that one went viral immediately. It reached probably 1 million people, if I remember right. It was some ridiculous number. I could see the reach on it, and it was just crazy. And every post I'd make 1 or 2 a week leading up to the season, just, to keep it in people's mind.
For months and months, neither Krista or Levi knew if anything would come of the idea, but they remained hopeful. Then came opening day, September 2nd, 2017, Iowa versus Wyoming. Krista remembers the journey into Kinnick Stadium.
Anticipating this day, I'd seen it shared a lot, but people get lost in the game, and there's always heavy drinking, so your memory starts to fail you. But we were actually walking toward the field, and there were still some people tailgating, and there was a family in front of us, and one of their friends had yelled, "Hey, don't forget to wave," and I was like, oh my gosh, this might be real. Like, people might actually do it. So we got in, and it counted down, and I looked, and people started kind of doing it on their own, and then it spread, and I couldn't give you a percentage, but everyone, as far as I could see, was standing up and doing it. And in fact, there was an older guy behind me with a Wyoming t-shirt on, and I don't think he really knew what was going on, but as soon as everyone stood up, he kind of looked around, and he turned around and started doing it, and just to see him, like, this is kind of cool. So it kind of died down, and then the announcer went ahead and made an announcement and asked everyone to turn, so everyone did it again. But just for everyone to do it without any direction, that first time was really, really special. There were no thoughts in my head. Just blown away. I mean, there's no words.
Actually, I had a very similar moment to that. We actually parked, and there's a train outside of Iowa City that you can take into Iowa City, and it drops you right off at the stadium. So we parked at the train station and got on the train to ride into Iowa City. And as we were sitting there, the people behind us, now they didn't say anything directly to us or anything. They had no idea who I was or anything like that. But I heard them talking about, hey, it's the first quarter today, everybody's going to wave at the kids. And I had my wife with me at the time, and I just kind of looked over and smiled, and I was just like, people know. I'm like, people know, because this could happen. Basically, after the first quarter, everybody gradually stood up, and I think, like I said, for the most part, it looked to me like everybody was in the know, because everybody started waving. And I was just like, holy cow, this is absolutely crazy. And like I said, it brought tears to my eyes just because I couldn't believe the response that we were seeing. And this is all by word of mouth. And it's fantastic. Anybody that wasn't in the know got with the know real quick.
Just like that, it all came together in a tradition that means so much to the children at Stead Family Children's Hospital. One of their child life programming specialists, Emily Baxter, shares what it's like on the other side of the glass.
It was the next year that I actually got to work a game day, so be up there in the press box, and then, of course, be on the hospital side waving to the fans. And for the children that were up there in the press box, it's really cool. I mean, to see that giant stadium full of people turn towards you and waving at you, it's a pretty big deal. It's short, it's only a couple minutes, but it's pretty powerful.
Emily says the children, as you may imagine, have loved every moment of it.
It gives them that confidence. Some kids have said that they feel famous because people are waving at them. And then, as you might have seen, we've also had a lot of media coverage. So visits from ESPN. So we've had kids who've been interviewed, families who've been interviewed up there in the press box. It's just that overwhelming feeling that people are wishing you the best. I think we quickly learned that this was going to be a bigger deal than we could have imagined. Like I said, it was just such a powerful thing to, like you said, have 70,000 people waving. It's just, from talking to kids in the hospital, they've mentioned a lot of things of that they could feel the support from people. just that little act of waving helps them. They feel the support from the community members, and then of course from everybody, all the fans in the Kinnick Stadium, and not only the Iowa fans, because all the opposing team fans wave, the opposing team waves, the officials wave, everybody in Kinnick Stadium waves after the first quarter. So yeah, that's pretty darn cool.
In talking with Emily, Krista, and Levi, they all mentioned how important it is for the Iowa Wave to stay natural. As of now, it's not owned by any organization or even sponsored, and keeping it organic is a top priority for all the parties involved, says Levi Thompson.
Well, I just think that's it. It's not about any credit. I think as long as we can keep it organic and it's not sponsored, hear out of the kindness of people's hearts that are wanting to do it, not because they have to do it, but because they want to do it. I don't want to take anything away from that. This has always been about the kids, because it makes it so much more special if you don't see something tied to it with a sponsor or a name of any sort. It's truly because the person wants to stand up and wave and give some attention to those kids at that very moment.
Days, weeks, lives made from such a simple gesture, born out of a simple idea. Krista explains why she thought a hand wave should be the motion and what it means to see it each and every time.
That was the most simple thing. I mean, it was literally just, my thought process lasted like 20 seconds. It was just, like a little wave, it doesn't cost anything to throw up a hand. I mean, you don't have to purchase a banner or purchase a foam hand, it was just a simple, hey, everyone's got a hand they can throw up and wave. So it's moving every time, and of course I bought like a baby. As very little as I did, my hand in it, it's so small that it's kind of surreal that it even, it's not my thing anymore. It's just a Hawkeye thing.
And it's amazing to be at Kinnick Stadium and watch it. When it begins, the opposing team knows it's happening, and everybody either stands up or turns around. It's just one of the great moments. Well, there's another pretty fun moment we're going to talk about. It's called the jump around, but first, this timeout.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-965-1292. 800-965-1292. That's 800-965-1292.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Did you receive a call or message that mentioned Social Security and demanded immediate action? Did the caller know your Social Security number or other personal information and tell you that your Social Security number had been used in connection with the crime? Did you feel worried that your Social Security number might be suspended, your bank account might be frozen or seized, or you could be arrested? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, demand your personal information, or instant payment, email or text you pictures or documents, or use a real government official's name to gain your trust. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Do not be fooled. Hang up. Ignore them. Report this criminal activity to the Social Security Administration Office of the Inspector General at oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And welcome back to more of the Sports Life. Will Team here along with Dalton Shetler. And don't forget, auto owners insurance, simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you. Well, we talked about Mr. Brightside. We talked about the Iowa Wave. And now it's the infamous jump around at Camp Randall Stadium. And since Dalton loves all these things, of course, Dalton would bring you more about the jump around.
Jump around! One of the greatest traditions in all of college football lives in Madison, Wisconsin at Camp Randall Stadium. When at the end of the third quarter, this song plays over the stadium speakers and 80,000 fans layered in red and white begin to jump up and down in the stands. But how did this song become the staple to a fall Saturday in Wisconsin? That question sent us on a journey that led to two former Wisconsin football players, Ryan Sondrup and Eric Weissenen. Eric remembers quite well how Jump Around reached Camp Randall Stadium.
So Ryan, myself, and Eric Grams were living together, and they were tight ends. I was a defensive lineman. And unfortunately, Ryan got injured and had to go on medical. But being the go-getter he was, he just didn't want to sit around and not do anything because he had kind of a passion at the time to become an athletic director, work in athletic administration. So he got a job in the marketing department of the athletic department when we were students. And when he reported for his first day of work, which was a Monday, and we were living together, I was actually bartending at a place called Wando's during the season on Mondays. And Ryan came in, and he was all happy because he got his first assignment. Walked in, had his notebook, and we're like, well, what's the first assignment? It was myself, Eric Grams, a couple other guys sitting around. He's like, you know how the music really isn't that good before the games, during the games, even though we have some good stuff going on? Well, they told me to pick out some music that maybe could get us pumped up for the games. So at that time, we still took money out of the register. In the place that I worked, Wando, so it was all right to take money out of the register to plug the jukebox. So I grabbed some quarters. Myself, Ryan, and Eric Grams went and started just plugging the tunes. And we picked a couple ones that really didn't resonate too well. We had a couple ideas, but then quite honestly, they had some swear words in them. So we're like, oh, that's probably not going to fly. And then we put in Jump Around. And the whole bar didn't start jumping around, unfortunately. But the energy and the vibe in the bar definitely changed. And I think it was Ryan said that this one's going on the list.
Ryan Sondrup did put it on the list and did pitch it to his superiors.
I was probably a little overzealous and as a marketing intern, and I had all these big ideas and how we were going to change things and all this stuff. And my boss at the time was Mike Unatan. I went into his office and, I told him I had these ideas and all this stuff. And he's like, great, why don't you present to us? And so I didn't have a lot of ideas. Thought I did. So I was writing stuff down. That's why I went into Wando's that night. And Grams and Wise was working there and started talking about ideas and those kind of things. So I always joke around and say, I had my little green notebook there and filled with a bunch of failure ideas. But the music was one of the things that we were tackling, and we had listed some things out, and Jump Around was kind of circled on that list. And the marketing department, Mike Yantan was our boss. Kevin Klunder was one of his assistants, and Kevin would kind of run the music and some of the marketing things during the game, and so we gave him that list, and we had Jump Around circled, and we said, hey, if there's a big moment in the game, this is what you should hit. And the way it worked out was just kind of, the whole situation just kind of rolled, and it was Purdue, Drew Brees, there's an interception or something right at the beginning of the third quarter or something. They were back. The offense was backed up. Something was going on. The timing was perfect, when he chose to play that song and big part of the game. And then just to see the student section just blow up the way it did. Still remember that first one. It was pretty cool.
Because of Ryan's knee injury, he actually was in the student section for the first jump around, while good friend Eric Weissenen was down on the field.
I was right on the sidelines, right around the 40-yard line. That's where the defense kind of hung out on our side. It was unbelievable. And, another one of our good friends, Chris McIntosh, who's now the athletic director, he makes a comment how it just changed everything. It just really put a big confidence level going back out there. I think it was Jamar Fletcher had a big interception, if I recall that point.
I think that's right.
And then the offense, the offense just went out there and just revamped and just really took it to them.
And it led to a 31-24 Wisconsin win over Purdue on that day, October 10th, 1998. But the jump around song wasn't sprung into a tradition quite yet, as Ryan explains.
It took a little bit to catch on. It didn't have the best reaction from some of the older season ticket holders and that kind of stuff. We had quite a few calls coming in the athletic department that necessarily didn't like it, just with it being a rap song and a little different than what we had done before. If I remember correctly, we didn't play it the next game. At the time, I thought it was a little edgy, and so we had a number of complaints come in after that, and that was kind of interesting because then it was like, oh, what did we do? As those calls came in and everything, and the official word, of the reason for the pause is that they were worried about, the structural integrity of the stadium, the way that the stadium was moving and stuff like that. So it was kind of put on pause. While that was sorted out and everything, and it was kind of a good reason to put that on pause. And it was a group of engineering students, I think, that were doing something because Camp Randall was getting ready to go on a renovation stuff, and they came back and was like, nope, stadium's good. And it was back on track and played, and it kind of grew from there.
I would say it wasn't only a couple weeks after that. I mean, I think he was really only shut down for one.
Yeah.
Mr. Richter was in charge of it, handled, all the complaints, and because I think quite honestly, then the complaints flowed in that they weren't doing it from the students because they were so excited about it.
It went both ways.
And it was such a great momentum change. So then once everything kind of got straightened out, and I think they got a version of the song that everyone was happy with, and it just kept going on then to this day. I think there was one other time where they had to shut it down when the renovations actually were occurring. But then after that, I think it's just been solid ever since.
It most certainly has. And for Eric, there's really only one downfall to this story.
My wife, Sydney, is an Iowa grad, and even she knew about it when she was at Iowa. And really the only down part about it is, like, I have 8-year-old twin girls, Blake and Reagan. We went to the Eastern Michigan-Wisconsin game, and it was just driving down Layden Street, which is kind of our fraternity, sorority street where there's a lot of parties. My wife counted, I think, 122 jump-around T-shirts, and she just looked at me and started shaking her head. She's like, you, Sonny, and Eric should have done a little bit better job managing this early on. So that's the only down thing.
However, it may not be quite as fruitful, but Eric has found a way to get something in return for his part in creating the jump around.
There was a time, it was probably 2002 or 2003, where I believe it's the student newspaper wrote an article about the origin of it. And so it gave us, I guess, for lack of a better term, credibility. So it was always fun because, you're young, but you're just having fun. And to be 25 years old, and people that knew my story be like, oh, that's Eric. He's one of the guys that started to jump around. And people are like, oh, whatever, that started in 97. Everyone claims, a piece of that. And they say, no, he really did. He didn't do it all by himself. There's, 70,000 people that definitely started it with him. But he helped choose the music with Sonny and Graham. And they'd be, I don't think so. Like, yeah, I do. And then so I'd make a little sideways with them. It'd tend to be a bottle of booze. And then they would say, no, I don't believe you. You have no way to back this up. And I'd be like, well, actually, I do. What is your email? And then because of that student newspaper article, I would send them the email, and you'd make sure I'd show up at that tailgate the following home game to make sure I collected my reward.
As much fun as Eric and Ryan have had giving this tradition the ground to jump on, they both understand just how special jump around is to Wisconsin, starting with Ryan.
I think it's Camp Randall itself. The tradition, the passion, of those fans, you talk to college football fans and you tell them, that you went to Wisconsin, you played at Wisconsin, and to the person, it's always, hey, that's on my bucket list. I'd love to see a game at Camp Randall. And I just think it's part of many traditions and the enthusiasm and the passion of those fans, where they'll take it and run with it. You give them something and they'll make it theirs. And it's cool to see how that's been embraced and what it's morphed into today.
Yeah, and not only that, I think it's kind of special because when you think about just colleges, it tends to be that at times there's a legacy, because this game, like I said, I was just at the Eastern Michigan game, and I was actually sitting next to a gentleman that was UW grad, and he was actually super excited because his son was sitting in the student section this week, and this was going to be his first jump around. So now this really transcended generations where, that's really what he was. I'm like, are you excited we're winning? No, I'm excited my son's going to be able to do his first jump around. That's just fantastic, because it was a college experience that he remembered, and man, that's something else.
Dalton, great bit. But every time I hear that music, I think that's the last thing I'm going to hear on planet Earth is the whole stadium starts tumbling down.
I love the PTSD you have that it just immediately brings back warlike flashbacks for you.
It is horrible. Anyway, when we come back with more of the Sports Life, our parting shots in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto Owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask.
Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners makes sense for you.
Everything is expensive right now. Gas, food, you name it. You're spending more, you are making the same or less money. So, what do? You rack up credit card debt. That's what you do. It's not your fault. It's the economy. And guess what? If you rack up too much credit card debt like some of us, you can't pay your bills. Then the credit card companies, as nice as they are, start hounding you for money. Then you start your downward spiral. A smart thing for you to do is to call the Zero Debt. They can help you consolidate all your credit card bills into one affordable payment. Millions of people have done it. It works to make you debt-free. Make this free call right now. It costs you nothing to learn more.
800-298-9093. 800-298-9093. 800-298-9093. That's 800-298-9093.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. Learn more at wearebroadcasters.com/hope. Furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player. No matter the challenges I face every day in the NFL, my mom is always there for me, despite her own struggles with muscular dystrophy. And MDA is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today. Thank you.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler. Fun show, a look at some great traditions. And if you like Michigan State, 2015 is right in your wheelhouse. And now we have worked our way to our parting shots.
Which, by the way, again, if you haven't already, again, make sure you follow us on Twitter or X. @SportsLifeNow is our name. We'll post all the bits, and we post the entire show there as well. So make sure you give us a follow @SportsLifeNow. But as you mentioned, that 2015 Michigan State football team, that's where we started this show today, celebrating the 10-year anniversary of them. We're bringing it full circle again with a collective parting shot and talking about the 10-year anniversary of those Spartans, because it was maybe just about as much as anybody else an unordinary path to getting to a title as the Spartans had, with all these moments when you look at the trouble with the snap in Ann Arbor, the kick with your backup quarterbacks playing the game against a top-ranked Ohio State team in their building, and the Big Ten championship game that featured a drive that lasted maybe the entire season's worth of time. All of these moments compiled in what was just an amazing season to remember. Of course, we mentioned already it was the third Big Ten title for Mark D'Antonio and the Spartans in just 6 years, and it sent the Spartans to the college football playoffs. That year, it can't be stressed enough, Will, how much that meant for Michigan State, the university, also that football program, and the legacy of a Hall of Famer in just about every Hall of Fame known to man, Mark D'Antonio.
If you got to live it, you'll never forget it. It was just one of those special moments, and that's why sports is great, when you get to be part of something like this. But the other thing you wonder, will Michigan State or the Big Ten ever see a magical time like Mark D'Antonio? If you're a Spartan fan, he took the job in 2007, and just go from 2008 to 2015, he beat the arch-rival Wolverines in Michigan 7 out of 8 times.
It's hard to do too much better than that.
So that won many Spartan hearts for Coach D. But at the end of the day, as Dalton said, he's in the College Football Hall of Fame along with others. And this season, he went into the Michigan State Athletics Hall of Fame. Gee, that's a no-brainer, right?
Right.
As he leaves the school as their all-time winningest, we've talked about the 3 titles, 6 bowl wins. These are all things that have never happened there before. And you talk about the golden era of Spartan football. You can talk about Big Iman, Duffy Daugherty, but those windows were short. What Mark D'Antonio did wasn't a short window. It went a long period of time.
And I think it's important, too, if you're analyzing the history of Spartan football, there are really big things, right, that happen with Big Iman, with Duffy Daugherty, and things like with Duffy Daugherty that happen off the field, where you're talking about the actual integration of collegiate football, historic things. But when you're measuring the decades, this day and age, competing at the highest level, it's hard. If you're not Ohio State, you're not Michigan, you're not Notre Dame, you're not Texas, you're not Alabama. It's hard to get up there. And fighting all the resources and all the great big programs. We mentioned Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Those are 3 schools that are within just a few hours of where Michigan State sits in proximity. And Mark D'Antonio was able to launch that Michigan State program to compete with and beat those programs year after year. That doesn't happen in today's day and age.
Nope. And like he said at his introductory press conference, why not us?
It's true.
And the people bought in. Well, I hope you enjoyed our show. It was fun going back in time and reflecting on some of the great moments in Big Ten football, as well as great traditions in the conference. We should also note that you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, like SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple, and make sure to check us out and hit subscribe. As always, thanks to the Big Ten Network. The Sports Life is produced by Dalton Shetler. Our executive producer is Wendy Hart. So on behalf of Dalton Shetler, I'm Will Tiemann, and thanks for your time.